We focus on early childhood and child abuse prevention because the most important time in establishing a strong parent-child relationship occurs in those first few years of life. So increasingly we've been focusing on introducing prevention services at a time a woman becomes pregnant, or most certainly at the time she has her baby. What we want to avoid in child abuse prevention is making people feel that some other families are at risk, that it's those families over there, and those families look nothing like my family, and they're the ones that are really struggling in raising their children. You know, there are a variety of ways to deliver prevention services to families, but a model that increasingly surfaces as being very promising is home-based services. Some call them home-based early learning environments, some call them home visitation programs, but the gist of them, it's where the provider goes into the home. We're not lecturing parents on what's good or bad, we're really demonstrating for them this is how you create a nurturing learning environment for your child, assuming that you have a program that has been designed to meet the specific developmental needs of children and the behavioral needs or challenges their parents may be facing. I think you can produce strong outcomes such that children do develop to their fullest potential, they arrive at school ready to learn, and parents go out and make good choices for themselves and for their children. They decide, if they're a young parent, to complete their education. They decide to arrange high-quality childcare for their child so they can indeed become gainfully employed and stay in the job market. And then they learn how to ask for help before problems arise. So how do we motivate individual families to want these services, and to see value in these services, and then to access them on their own? And for the most troubled families, I think we need to be very creative. I don't think we quite understand the full scope of their needs. I don't think we fully understand what are the barriers to them in accessing adequate services, and why are we driving them away despite our best efforts. I think the programs that work best in this country are programs that indeed are universally available. The turn of the last century, we talked about public education, not public education for poor children, but public education for all children. We really are building a system that can truly resonate with all families. It's best to do it not through a lens of child abuse prevention, but rather through the lens of early education. If there's one thing we promise all children in this country is equal opportunity, and that equal opportunity hinges on a high-quality education. And all parents of all incomes, and we've known this for research over the years, when you ask parents, what do you want for your children? They really want them to succeed, and they want them to do well in school.
Well, children who are emotionally secure and socially competent and cognitively ready are more likely to be prepared for kindergarten. And in fact, long-term studies of high-quality preschool programs have shown that there are costs that are saved for society with these programs. States have invested a considerable amount of resources in the last decade in pre-K programs. When I think of school readiness, I think of both the non-cognitive, the social-emotional competencies that children need, as well as the cognitive preparation that they need. And I think a high-quality preschool program requires activities and relationships and interactions with adults that will promote these in children. But one of the problems that we need to figure out is how to measure social-emotional competencies. That's one reason why it's received less attention, I think, when we talk about school readiness. We don't have good ways to show the outcomes of programs, the effects on children's social-emotional skills. Another area where I think we really need more attention is just helping parents understand the kinds of curriculum and programs that their children are experiencing so that they can be supportive of them. Also helping them understand their role and how they can work with their children at home.
In the future, I think what Chapin Hall brings to the forefront is a variety of disciplines and perspectives. So much of the learning in social services, I think, is best done when, I like to say, we look over the fence and we sort of say, what are our colleagues that are different from us doing right now? What are the questions they're asking? What are the studies they're pursuing? And in Chapin Hall, we have that little microcosm where we don't have to go very far to look over the fence. We simply have to go to the next office.
one of Chapin Hall's strengths in studying these issues is it brings a variety of different kinds of data sources. So we have qualitative data, we have quantitative data, and we have administrative data. And we use service records to understand how families are using services, where the gaps are, where their needs are.